saying to yourself, damn, what is going on here?
This is bad. This is very, very bad.
Caitlin Clark is clearly a catalyst for a business that was, and let's be honest, Caitlin to some degree financially saved the WNBA. It was hemorrhaging money for years.
It's actually to drive revenue so we can give the players extra income opportunities. I had to actually educate the players. They're like, good, $75 million divided by 144 payout.
In addition to being a tough defense against Caitlin Clark, the cheap shots, blind side strikes, and unrelenting aggressiveness are part of a targeted approach. The rookie who salvaged their league on their own is receiving a harsh message from the WNBA's more seasoned players. There is now growing evidence that the WNBA is getting ready to retaliate with an unimaginable scheme to rig the game itself in order to guarantee its billion-dollar star wins, no matter the cost.
Because at the end of the day, with her WNBA rookie season complete, that's it. Most points by a point guard in a season in WNBA history. Most double-doubles by a rookie guard in WNBA history. Most points by a rookie in WNBA history. Most assists by a rookie in the history of the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark's financial explosion in the WNBA was not a ripple. Rather, it was a tidal wave that completely changed the league's environment in a single night. You must first comprehend how hopeless things were in order to appreciate the magnitude of her influence. The Indiana Fever were an afterthought prior to her arrival, playing in dingy arenas with averaging just over 4,000 spectators each game, making them the least popular team in terms of attendance. That figure increased to almost 17,000 fans per game the instant Clark put on their shirt, propelling them from last to first. In order to meet the unprecedented demand, opposing teams started relocating their home games against the Fever from their customary arenas to far larger NBA stadiums. It was amazing to witness the Caitlin Clark effect in real time.
NBA negotiated the WNBA's media deal alongside its own massive media rights agreement with Disney, NBC, and Amazon, and each of those companies will have their own WNBA packages. However, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver confirmed on Tuesday that the media deals were not finalized just yet.
Got to build, you have to scale, and ultimately expansion had always been on my list. But we didn't want to rush into it because we wanted new owners, like new ownership groups. Anyone who knows sports here knows, like, it's a slog to be a sports owner.
Caitlin Clark is the reason why a lot of great things is going to happen for the W.
The television numbers, however, told the true tale. Her maiden game drew crowds comparable to those of major men's sporting events, making it the most viewed WNBA game in over 23 years. Over the course of the season, ESPN's viewership soared by an incredible 170% over the previous year. The WNBA was able to negotiate a huge new media rights agreement worth billions of dollars because to the influx of new viewers, which gave the league leverage it had never had before. Soon after the draft, their number 22 jersey became the best-selling jersey for any athlete in any sport, and merchandise was flying off the shelves. For the first time in its history, the WNBA was a successful, profitable organization rather than merely living on an NBA subsidy.
Clark trying to get around Mabry. Clark to the rim, reverses it home through the contact.
With physical defense she's faced at the professional level and voiced frustration with the league's officiating, recently telling reporters, quote, "I feel like I'm getting hammered and everybody is physical with me, and opponents get away with things that other people don't get away with." That's what Caitlin Clark said.
What I am upset about, it's like, hey man, your meal ticket is under constant attack. There's been dirty plays.
Caitlin Clark never received the welcome Matt promised. Rather, she was met with a degree of physical violence that frequently veered beyond the bounds of competition to malevolence. This was not your typical rookie hazing or tough defense. It was individualized, brutal, and frighteningly personal. It was during a game against the Chicago Sky that this sinister undertone was revealed to the globe. Guard Kennedy Carter ambushed Clark as she was ready for an inbound pass, sending her flying to the floor with a cheap shot hip check that had no basketball purpose. The actual hit was startling. According to a later quote, Carter said she had no regrets.
Discouraged Alyssa Thomas from making some of her great passes. No one picks up Clark, who cans the three.
Tremendous move, but we are tied right now. Clark to Samuelson, and there is, believe it or not, folks, the biggest...
This was not a singular occurrence. Clark endured hard fouls, off-ball shoves, and a brutality that seemed to be reserved for her alone over the season. "I feel like I'm getting pummeled out there," she finally told reporters during a news conference, adding that opponents were getting away with stuff against her that would not work for other players. She was correct. There was an obvious and persistent pattern of animosity, a vicious campaign intended not only to test her,
But Cowan, who couldn't finish, behind the back again for Clark, give her another assist and a chance for a three-point play for Smith.
A long-standing animosity that had been brewing within the league for years was the source of the animosity toward Caitlin Clark. Established veterans of the WNBA had labored in relative obscurity, vying for every shred of respect, every dollar of pay, and every scrap of media notice. Through their effort and sweat, they had created the league. Then a 22-year-old rookie showed up out of nowhere and was immediately given the media attention, endorsements, and celebrity that many of them had sought throughout their careers. The rafters were literally dripping with jealousy. WNBA legend Diana Taurasi gave a terrifying warning on national television before Clark even played a professional game. It now seems more like a threat. The fact that you are opposing mature ladies who have played basketball professionally for a considerable amount of time is coming to light. It served as a warning of the impending physical punishment. Caitlin Clark was left off the USA squad for the Paris Olympics, the most startling and contentious move of the year, as a result of this resentful mood. The selection committee, which was made up of WNBA insiders and veterans, decided to leave her off the list even though she was the most talked about, watched, and popular athlete in the nation. Her inexperience was listed as the official justification. Their attempt to discredit the rising star only served to highlight the acrimonious internal strife that threatened to destroy the league from the inside out.
Asia Wilson keeps the possession alive for Vegas. Wilson gets denied by Stewart.
Shot here in these finals. What about this one? Just a beautiful contest, all ball from the 7'1" wingspan.
The league owners and executives were facing a far more terrible reality, the possibility of their enormous income disappearing as quickly as it emerged, while the players were enmeshed in their internal politics. The instant the Indiana Fever were eliminated from the playoffs, their worst fears were validated. The Caitlin Clark effect vanished into thin air almost immediately. The ensuing playoff matches, which were supposed to be the high-stakes display of the league's finest players, were abruptly held in arenas with conspicuously large empty seating sections. There was no longer the lively, sold-out atmosphere that characterized the regular season.
2 national championships, 4 Big Ten championships. Yeah, there's my teammates. They're pretty awesome. And I think just a belief in myself, and my parents always instilled confidence in me from a young age when I was a young girl, and I think that's something a lot of young girls can learn to have, and I think people supporting them certainly helps. So, yeah, I think the biggest thing is the confidence, but I told my mom before this is like, you know, I earned it, and that's why I'm so proud of it.
The narrative of the television ratings was much more frightening. It was a free fall, not a dip. Just 929,000 people watched the subsequent games, a sharp decline from the 2.5 million who excitedly turned in to watch Clark's final playoff game. This is a nearly instantaneous 60% drop in viewing. Alongside Caitlin Clark, the money, the publicity, and the general interest all left. The WNBA's New York headquarters was rocked by sheer fear as a result. The stakes were just too high, and they now had hard, indisputable evidence that the success of their league was not based on a surge in public interest.
He said that really stuck out to me was about Christy Size actually having major control over this Fever locker room.
Caitlin Clark for the 2 games that she was in the postseason. Outkick has the story available right now. You can go to outkick.com. Caitlin Clark's final WNBA playoff game. 2.5 million viewers.
Appreciate you.
They're ready to arrive. I don't. I think she's going to be even better. And I think that what she has done for women's basketball, especially in this country, has been phenomenal. There is no woman, no matter how great you were as a player, Cheryl Swoops.
The league made a decision that fully exposed its hand in the face of this dreadful financial reality. WNBA players have been battling for the league to pay for charter flights for years. They maintained that the unpleasant aspects of commercial travel, delays, middle seats, and a lack of security posed a serious risk to public safety and competitiveness. The league's response remained consistent for years. They really could not afford the luxury, and it was financially impossible. Then came Caitlin Clark. The long-standing problem was abruptly transformed into an urgent security situation for their top asset when fans and media surrounded her in a mob-like manner at public airport terminals.
And not tell people, hey, if you're just in this for Caitlin Clark, then get out. No, that is not the way you market your league.
So
it's not the way you grow.
Suddenly, the money materialized out of thin air. Over the next 2 seasons, the WNBA plans to spend an incredible $75 million on charter flights for every club. The league presented it as a long overdue win for all players, but those in the know knew better. Veterans had been advocating for this decision for more than 10 years, yet it was not made for them. Caitlin Clark was intended to be protected. It was the first indisputable proof that the league was prepared to violate its own long-standing regulations and radically alter its financial structure in order to accommodate its new superstar. And what more would they be prepared to do to safeguard her success on the court if they were prepared to shell out millions to safeguard her travel?
Was Caitlin Clark, it was massive numbers. When it wasn't, it was even less on average than the previous playoff series.
At this point, rumors of preferential treatment became loud public conjecture. Before finding its way to the nation's largest sports debate shows, the incendiary hypothesis gained traction in internet forums. Is the 2025 season being rigged by the WNBA to ensure Caitlin Clark reaches the championship game? The argument gained widespread acceptance when prominent commentators like Stephen F. Smith asked his millions of viewers if the league could truly afford to lose Clark early again the following season. The league understands Clark is their golden ticket and would be utter fools not to do everything in their power for as long as possible, said Skip Bayless, echoing these comments.
Now, one thing we've seen, and Holly Rowe talked to the players about this, last year they shot a lot of 4-pointers as Sabrina knocks that one down for a 4-point.
Time about the offensive rebounding. We gave up one offensive rebound in the whole second half. That was huge for us. These
are not merely irrational, unfounded charges. For many years, professional sports leagues have been accused of bias. The Tim Donaghy refereeing incident demonstrated that referees could and did rig games, and the NBA has long been plagued by allegations of favoring players like Michael Jordan or LeBron James with calls. The NFL has been accused on numerous occasions of giving preference to well-liked big-market clubs in important games in order to increase viewership. The temptation to sway results and guarantee their star a trip to the finals may be too strong to resist, especially when the WNBA's whole financial future depends so heavily on the success of one player.
I was once that little Iowa girl who was inspired to dream big, real big. And that dream was more than women's basketball. If I can sign with Gatorade, you can too.
Everything to be proud of. I'm super proud. There's so much more we need to do. We're Caitlin Clark. This is just the beginning.
This puts the WNBA in a precarious and pivotal position, where its survival will be decided by a billion-dollar risk. To help Caitlin Clark advance further into the playoffs, the league may, on the one hand, step in and gently tip the scales with friendly scheduling, good officiating, and league-wide advertising. This course almost ensures high attendance, arenas that are sold out, and a sustained increase in revenue, ensuring the league's financial stability for many years to come. The league's reputation might be irreparably damaged if spectators even start to believe that the game is rigged, violating the faith of the devoted followers who have supported it during all the difficult years.
If Caitlin Clark is the quote-unquote savior, if she's the golden girl,
league versus Caitlin Clark, and that is just absolutely false. It is unfair to the women that have been
staying with the WNBA playoffs. Let's stay here. Let's just say the ratings aren't the same with Caitlin Clark.
However, if they do nothing and let the games unfold naturally, they run the risk of experiencing another disastrous 60% drop in viewership and seeing their newly discovered wealth vanish. The risk of real failure or contrived success is up for grabs. Or will they take the chance of their one real superstar being eliminated from the league before she has a chance to save them all? The entire globe will be observing,